fresh cut. You are now tuned into the underground. My name is Mbaya. I go by the doctor. First things first, this video is a little bit overdue. I was supposed to do this one right back to back after the last time that he was in. I did a high drop fade on him, and this time around we did a low drop fade. And I know you've seen me do the mid drop fade on him before, but I never did a voiceover, so I ended up doing a high drop fade, which I did a voiceover on. I hope y'all appreciated that. I hope it was helpful. And now I am back with a low drop fade. So I'm going to definitely style the hair towards the end using some level 3 product. I'm going to make sure I show you a little bit of the process on what it takes to make sure that he looks on point. I won't wait until the end to style the hair. I'll kind of prep it for the style, which is pretty much just combing his hair back and just making sure it's looking the part, you know, according to what we are doing for him, which is the low drop fade. Anyway, I know you watched the last video that I posted with a fade and beard step by step, but the way I went about that one was probably one of the easiest ways you can ever fade. Unlike the drop fade, it's a little bit tricky. Same process, just a little bit more detail, which you have to really be attentive. And this video is going to run about a half hour, so I definitely recommend that you watch all the way through. You know how I rock. If you've been here for some time now, watching this journey unfold with me, breaking down the easy steps of how to do these haircuts. So I'm going to go straight up at this with a harsh line right in there, creating my ball guideline. I'm not going under like how I started in my last video. If you check that out, definitely go and watch it. But I'm going straight at this harsh line in there, and right after I'm going to flip the trimmer blade over. Make sure that I go right underneath that guideline I just created and soften it up just a little bit. How you set in the ball guideline really determines how hard you will work if you are not skilled enough to remove that harsh line. So on the other side, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how you should just go ahead and do a softer guideline by going under, making sure everything is completely removed, prepping everything for the foil shaver. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side. I'm not just going to do one side in this video. I'm going to show you each side in full. I'm going to have some parts of this haircut in real time, and some parts I'm just going to kind of speed up because I think you understand and get the whole gist of what's going on. So like I say, I break down videos like this all the time. If you are not subscribed to this channel, I definitely recommend that you do so. I have some of the most unique ways of breaking down these haircut services and making sure that everything you hear is not misinformation. There's times where I will give you a little misleading information. If you know better than me, please correct me in the comment section. Let me know. I'm here for the constructive criticism. I don't know it all. So I have my guideline set in there. It's established completely. So immediately after, I'm going to go in with the foil shaver and get right underneath that guideline that I just created with the trimmer. Next, I'm going to go in with my Gamma boosted with the clipper lever all the way open and establish my next guideline, going up about an inch to a half inch. Whatever you end up doing, do what you must according to the head shape of your canvas, your client, okay? Do what you must. Do not go based off of everything that I am showing you in this video. You have to improvise according to who is sitting in your chair. And same thing with the number 1 guard, clipper lever all the way open. Go ahead and create the next guideline. Now, this guideline will be pretty much it for creating the low drop fade. I'm not going to go anywhere past the occipital bone or anywhere near that ridge area along the side of the head. I'm going to keep right underneath all of that. So one thing that I want to make sure that everyone understands today is it's all about the corners, okay? When you're going in creating these guidelines or blending out, it's all about the corners. Now, when you use the corners, you gotta kind of like crisscross in order to achieve a blend. So by opening and closing and going side to side using the corners. So when you go in with like the right corner, for example, check this out. Like you wanna go in like that, then if you do decide to go upward, like middle with the blade all the way flat, be careful with that. It can cause patches that will be hard to remove, and you will be making more work happen for yourself, which that's a no-go. So, you know, just go ahead and just use those corners. So as you can see, I'm using the open, close halfway, and close all the way to start to, of course, blend this out. That is what I'm doing. I am literally just following these easy steps in order to achieve a blurry blend. Don't skip any steps. And I am using a number 1 guard right now, just pretty much starting to blend down. These are simple steps. Do not skip any steps if you want to achieve blurry blends. Anyway, moving forward, I want to also show you that I'm going to switch over to my short tooth blade versus my Gamma Booster, which has these deep tooth blades, because the precision on my short tooth blade on my protege over here, the pink one, is completely different from how deep that Gamma Booster will get. And I don't really want to get deep. This is a small space to work with, and we're doing a low drop fade, so gotta keep everything super tight, no room for mistakes. So of course I'm using the short tooth blade, opening all the way, then closing halfway, softening up that line, as you can see, keeping everything consistent with the transition. Then I will go ahead and close this thing all the way and just remove that line completely. And that is as simple as that. That is how you achieve your 0. Now, usually when it comes to doing a haircut, a fresh fade, taper whatsoever, you need about 3 trimmers, or really you just need 3 tools. You need a good clipper to create your guidelines with, and you need a detail clipper to start blending out. Now this all will vary from texture to texture, and of course you need a 3rd tool, which is your trimmer. You only need 1 trimmer, but in my opinion, I believe 2 trimmers work perfect. But sometimes you don't need that secondary trimmer. It all depends on the texture that you're working with. So anyway, drifting a little bit here, back at it. We're moving over to the wall guard, which I will be using mostly all wall guards, if I didn't mention that, for the blending out. So I have a 0 guard or 0.5 attachment on here, going from open to close to halfway. You be the judge based on what you're seeing. If you have to do halfway, go halfway. If you have to do close all the way, go close all the way. If you have to open, open. If you have to do in between, you name it, however way, whatever you see, do it. Because I can mislead you by just following my steps word for word. Sometimes you will encounter a whole different situation. I don't want to be to blame for, oh, the doctor Jay told me do this, do that. Look, listen. Don't blame Dr. J, all right? I could only do so much. Anyway, we're moving over to the number 1 guard, as you can see, keeping everything consistent from open technique to halfway close to close. Just keep the same consistency. Do not cheat yourself. If you have to lose that guard, lose that guard. If you got to go down lower and clean up something, go ahead. If you have to keep the cleanup work for later, save it and come back to it. This is why we check our work, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the number 1.5, wall 1.5 that is. This is a wall 1.5. And same consistency, keeping the lever open when it's supposed to be open, closing it when it's supposed to be closed, whether it's halfway or fully closed or in between. You name it, you be the judge. Easy steps, y'all. Do not cheat yourself when it comes to these blurry blends. Now, I know you see that heavy weight line, that bulk, that's all gonna get taken care of later. And like I say, this is a low fade. Most of that hair up top, we're keeping. No trimming today at all. We're just gonna kind of make sure everything is styled towards the end. We did kind of cut most of the sides last time he was in, as well as the top, but other than that, keeping that top. We need to style this hair. This is somebody that comes in quite often. Sometimes they go away for some time, and it's just, it is what it is. You know, clients will kind of lose track of time sometimes, and it's just that thing that happens, you know. But they come back, they get back fresh, and yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, this is a fairly simple cut to do. It's just a short, tight space to work with, so you got to be very precise. Stretch if you have to stretch the skin. If it's not that necessary, don't stretch, because certain imperfections in the folds of the skin, depending on if they have imperfections such as abnormalities, is what I'm trying to say, you have to be able to improvise accordingly, okay? Do not do anything out of the ordinary. Do not try to do too much. Do not try to work a miracle that you can't fix sometimes, because some abnormalities are just there to have that person just look off, and if it's off, it's off. It's unique to them, okay? You can only do so much. Like my man's here has a very hairy front, which I call the Chewbacca. So his lineup is really wild. We can really just keep this very natural, but he likes to get it lined up in the front. You know, what could I say? I'm not really in charge of what this man wants. If he wants me to line up the front, I line up the front. It's client's preference. So do not judge me. Okay, so now that everything pretty much is established, we are achieving blurry blend in that low fade area. Everything else that you see will be taken care of towards the end. I'm not going to show you too much more of how much it takes to achieve this blend on this side. I will get back to it. For now, I'm going to get that hair up top damped up, get it wet, so we can go ahead and make sure that everything is combed back. And I'm going to start working on that front part of the hair to start taming some of that Chewbacca, because it is a task. It really is. On top of that, if you remember that I mentioned in the beginning of the video that this fade is a completely different type of challenge when you compare it to a standard fade with the box front lineup. In this case, you have the C cup. So the C cup is a different kind of challenge. The reason for why I say it's a different type of challenge is because of how I manipulate the hair, especially when it comes to the overhang. Is I try to make sure it's kept just enough to where the lineup looks enhanced and 3D. So as you can see, there's still a harsh line that is very visible along the temple area on the side. It's the same on both sides. I just made sure that the low fade was established, and this part where I'm combing back all this hair and getting it damped and combed out of the way so I can get that front line prepped up is going to explain everything. But before I move any further, as far as cutting down the front and shaping and molding that line in, I'm going to make sure that I get some round brush going on. Now, I'm not going to really be using the round comb or ground brushing technique or method. I'm just kind of going to make sure that I use this to help that hair go in the direction that I need it to, as in backwards. That's it. And that's enough of that. And now, since that's nice and controlled, I'm going to start molding in that line. I'm going to go in with my boosted again, with the number 3 guard clipper lever all the way open, and start working on molding in that side. I'm going to focus on just that temple area along the front, side ridge area, then work my way over to the front. And of course, keeping that same consistency with the open, close halfway, and close all the way technique. Just molding in everything. As you can see, the same harsh line of weight is still left over on the other side. So make sure that you soften up everything accordingly. Follow all the necessary steps. Do not skip any steps. Be the judge based off of what you're seeing. Now, this may not be always the case as far as how I'm going about this. I've mentioned this to you before. And as you can see, I'm jumping over to the number 2 guard now. Using a 2 guard, softening it up just a little bit more. Don't skip any steps. But I was saying, this may not be the necessary steps to always take according to how long ago or how soon your client returns. Do they come back often? Are they going away for some time? Because in this case, with somebody that has this much hair, this is completely different. It's a completely different experience or process of how to go about this. And that's the reason for why I'm going through each guard. To some people, this may be too long of a process, but if you want to achieve quality work, you have to take these necessary steps. So right now I'm using a 1 guard. I can use a 1.5 if necessary, but I will throw that on if I have to. So right now I'm just using a 1 guard, and on some parts I'm going to be using the 0 guard, just like right now. I opened it all the way, going down, making sure that I tame everything appropriately and not skip any steps, because you're molding everything in. This is levels to this. These are layers that you have to peel back and not just jump at it. Otherwise, you will make a mistake. But there's a certain look that I go for. This may not be the best style for everyone, but I am showing you these methods, these ways, these techniques to make your life easier. I never had somebody back in the day when I was learning how to cut with somebody showing me step by step everything, literally. I am one of those barbers that saw many different people that I worked with cut. I watched each one from the worst to the best. Am I any good today? Yes, I'm a lot better than what I was, but I am not the best. Nor am I the greatest. To some people, I am the GOAT, and I'll take that because they appreciate my work And that is all that matters. There's some people that may not appreciate my work and may think that my methods of breaking down these services is garbage. So guess what? Move on, click away, swipe away from this video, exit off. This is not for you. And right back with the round brush, just making sure that I keep that hair controlled, keeping it away from the line, because I am going to be needing to see everything that I need to line and make sure that this lineup is symmetrical. So I'm gonna come back in with my protege trimmer with the deep tooth cutter with the X Pro blade combo, of course. Starting my way from the middle, working my way out into those vertical bars. And like I say, this lineup is a challenge. This thing is not easy. There is a process here. One side, specifically on his right side, your left, the vertical bar is higher. When you compare it to the left side, it is shorter. So I've said this before in other videos, there is some things about lighting that will really have you thinking you're doing a horrible job. I have a window that blasts a lot of light in it. I appreciate it some days I don't. But it definitely has a huge role that it plays when it comes to how my content turns out. So as you can see, it's pretty dark on this side that I'm working on, but I'm digging into that vertical bar, making sure that I set it in there, manipulating this overhang as well as his overgrowth, the Chewbacca as I call it, making sure that everything is pretty symmetrical. So I'm gonna get the left side, your right first, and getting that C cup in there is probably one of the easiest things that you can ever do. It's just a matter of placement and how you set that blade onto the hair. Use the guide blade, which is the fixed blade, to guide you through, and use your fingers to help you balance, whether it's on the eyebrow around the eye socket or the cheekbone area, to make sure that you're not doing too much that has you not produce a quality C cup or vertical bar. So it's all in the corners too. I'm not setting this blade down straight flat. That's not happening. I have like a rocking seesaw effect going on here. I will demonstrate what I'm talking about just a little bit on the other side, just to see if you know what I mean. So like I said, you know, I'm only using the corners, and I'm exaggerating a little bit right now by using the corners. I'm really digging into that overhang, manipulating it. This looks enhanced, not because we had to kind of overcorrect him a little bit and dig that line in there a little bit, but it's just manipulation of the overhang. Like I said, I go for a very particular look when it comes to my style. Now, look at that. You're rocking back and forth with the corners only. You get it? Yep. And like I say, we have to overcorrect because this vertical bar on this side grows really longer. So he doesn't mind going in. Like I say, he's back pretty often. And to bring you this content is not the easiest. So I'm trying my best to work on my angles, my execution, and how I'm showing you the process of what I do in order for you to learn these techniques. This is free game, y'all. Take advantage of this. If you know a friend, anybody that needs help, especially if they are a beginner, send this video to them, share it to them, tag them if you have to, something, whatever it is. Do what you gotta do. Have them follow me on my different social media platforms. I have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, whatever you need me on, got you covered. But yeah, As you can see, there's some weight lines still remaining that I have to go over. So I'm gonna go in on that using my boosted, and just by using those corners, I'm going to go ahead and blend that out. Really easy stuff. Sometimes it's just a matter of being patient. A lot of these details are something that I don't really show in all my videos, and I get a lot of shade, a lot of heat sometimes for not doing this. But guess what? There's times before my client leaves, believe me, I did these details, because you have to check your work. You don't have to let the person just walk out and rush them out. They're paying good money, obviously, right? And if they're not paying good money because you're charging too low, you need to bump that up a little bit, because if you're going to be producing quality and you're being underpaid, you're playing yourself. A lot of barbers are underpaid, and they accept that for the sake of just having clout, as in having customers. That's crazy to me. But anyway, look, we're getting into the styling process. I'm drifting as usual. Make sure that the hair flows according to the way you faded it. And that is why we use our corners to fade and blend, because it helps you get into the flow of the hair, versus having that blade flat all the way is not ideal. And whenever you feel like I am keeping, or it looks as if I am putting the blade down flat, it's not. There's a slight angle. There's always a slight angle, whether it's to the left or to the right, depending on which way I am trying to direct my blade. So my guard attachment, the clipper comb attachment, those things work the magic. And it's all about how you're flicking. It's all in the wrists, all in the finger placement. Never grab your clipper tight. Same thing with your trimmer. Anyway, I'm going to use some holding spray from level 3. For the most part, everything that I did up top was with water. Sometimes I use a serum when I'm styling, but in this case we didn't really need a serum, so I just kind of used some hold spray just to kind of direct the hair in the flow that I wanted it to go, making sure everything looks the part. And I love the level 3 holding spray. It doesn't get nasty. I use this for when I have clients that are very particular with their lineup. Specifically, when I use fibers, I use the level 3 holding spray. There's thicker hold sprays that do a good job. That is a video for another day, but this is not about a fiber situation. I don't even really too much dig on the fibers and color, but hey, I got people that definitely like the color, so I do that. Anyway, not to shade on the color. You know how I get. If you know, you know. But yeah, this service is pretty much complete. I will add one more thing on the top of his hair after I apply this razor work. I am going to, of course, use some paste just to get the top, because I did use the hold spray to kind of direct that hair along the sides the way I wanted it to, which to some people that's a little cringe, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm doing what I do. This is how I do it. You can do it how you do it. We all have our methods, so don't knock how I do my job, okay? Yeah, anyway, if it helps you, it helps you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If you know a better way, leave it in the comment section. I'm always down for constructive criticism. Always. I'm really transparent. I'm very comfortable about me and how I do things. Some of you are very insecure and can project a lot. So please, constructive criticism. Don't be negative in the comment section. So this is one of the reasons why I don't really show my styling process, because there's many different ways that I can do this, but sometimes you just kind of want to add your own flavor. Just don't do something that's too unorthodox to the point where it looks crazy. Don't let your people just walk out crazy. But there's some people that do crazy when they're at home styling their hair. Ask some of your clients how they style their hair, and you will hear some very wicked stuff. I've heard some wild stuff. It blows my mind sometimes what people will allow to be done to their hair, or what they will do to their hair. Is madness. But as you can see, this is just all detail work. The lineup, if you don't know by now, is my favorite part of the haircut. You cannot shortchange your client when it comes to that lineup. Make sure that they are leaving sharper than sharp, exquisite than exquisite. But what gets more exquisite than exquisite? This is the exquisite way. This is how we rock. This is how we do it on this side. If you know a friend, like I say, hey, share this video to them. Let them know what's going on this side. Natural cuts are the best. They are winning. And that is what I do best. Yeah, so get a good amount of that paste and just run it through that hair. I'm gonna have them sit up in a moment and make sure that we get them right. Just run it through the hair. What I like about this paste is it's such a good hold on the hair to keep it controlled, and you can do so much with the pastes. A lot of everyone that I use the paste on love the paste, and it smells good too. Level 3 is doing it, y'all. Level 3 is on it. They got some of the best stuff in the game, hands down, like no lie. Can't go wrong. But just make sure you run that in there just like this. That's how I get that messy, natural look with the comb back style. Real slick, looks wet. But this stuff doesn't build up is what I appreciate about it. Even that holding spray doesn't really build up. It doesn't get all flaky later. Like, it might, depending on how much you get on there, but you really don't need to put a bunch on there, and it will hold. And this paste does not get messy. I haven't heard not one person complain yet. Everyone has texted me later, messaged me later, or even emailed me later talking about, yo, look, I don't know what it is that you put in my hair, but I need to know right now. I need to know what was that? What was that? You know, I'm just gonna kind of move in the camera. You know, don't judge me. You know how I do. I'm not making no cuts. Ain't no edit cuts around these parts. I show you the whole process. Ain't no cheating this way. Ain't no lies. Ain't no fraud. None of that. I'm going to show you what I do. And if you don't like it, yeah, look, click away. Look how good that looks. Looks good. Looks amazing. Really fresh. But yeah, y'all, that's pretty much it for this one. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. You know, leave a comment, share this video, subscribe, hit me up on all my different platforms. If you have any questions, like I say, hit that comment section.